Smart receiver is a device for receiving radio commands, controlling traps, for releasing clay targets for sporting and Compak Sporting, with the feature of monitoring trap state. So when you switch off and connect the receiver, you can see the following information on the display. So first of all, you can see the signal level. So there might be up to 3 lines. And next, the battery voltage. So there are 2 types. The first one shows battery voltage without load, and second one shows on load while recocking. So the next one is C, means clays, it's number of targets released after the last press on refill button, so it means after the last reset. The reset button is placed here above, as you can see. So when we press, here we can see better. So here, when we press the refill button, here on the top, we can reset it. And after each release, we can see that the number increases. The next one is L, is layout, which means the layout name. So in which case we have the layout number 1. And the last one is T, means trap, it's trap A. So it means when we press A button, we can control the trap. Okay, in order to connect the receiver, you have to use 4 wires, which are connecting here to this terminal blocks. So this one here, you can see it's written, it's plus, minus, and here we have relays. Connection scheme depends on the type of the trap, and the scheme in accordance to the trap you can find on our website. So there you can see, in accordance if you're using Laporte, Chromatic, or other type of the trap, how to connect the socket. Okay, the next advice is when you install, after connecting the trap, try to install it around 1 meter above the ground. The best way will be to place it vertically, like that, attach it to the vertical surface. Here you can have the special holes, so you can screw it, for example, to the wall or other surface, and antenna should be directed up. So in order to set the relay, to set the receiver, first of all you have to unscrew the cover, because we need to be able to reach these 3 set buttons. So we have 3 buttons here. These are prog. This one is responsible for entering the menu or leaving the menu. So when we press or press it again, so we go back. The next one is change. Here we can increase the number, for example, go to the next value, higher value, and so on when we need to set it up. And the last one is save and next button. It saves, changes, and goes to the next mode in the administrative section. So when we press prog, we enter the administrative menu, and the first thing what we see is the counter section, which shows us the total number of thrown targets. To move to the next station, as we remember, we press the last button, save next, and here we can see or we can select how we want to show the name of the layout. If we want to show it in a channel mode, or we want to show it in a range layout mode. So channel option is good for Compak Sporting, where we just show number 1, 2, 3 and so on, or range layout where we show 1.1, 1.2 and so on, which is good for sporting layout. So in our case we will choose just channel type, and we save and go to the next section. In the next section, because we chose channel, so we have to set up the channel. So we can set up channels from 0 to 32 to 31, and as you see on the right side, we can also see the scheme how we will have to set up the dip switch for the remote control. So in our case, if we choose channel number 1, we see that the dip switch number 1 up, all down. And here we can check that inside our remote control, the dip switch number is up, all down. So which means it is correctly set. And you always have to make sure that all receivers on one layout have the same address. So it means on layout 1, if you have 8 traps, so it means 8 receivers, all have to be set up to channel 1. Okay, in the next section, we set up the trap name. So the maximum number of traps on one layout is 24. So to name the trap, we use letters from A to X, and we use change button to shift and to change the letter. So it means if you have 8 traps on the layout, you should name them from A to H. They all have to be set to the same channel. For example, we'll go back to trap A. So, and to save, we press save. Next. Okay, the next section is relay pulse time. This is the time period at which the relay switches on to release the target. The minimum value is 0.1 second and the maximum is 1 second. The incremental step is 0.1 second. Usually we recommend to use the value from 0.3 to 0.5 because the higher value usually is good for all the traps. But yeah, this you have to decide in accordance to the state of the trap. So to change the value, we use the change button, and after selecting, we press save. Next. In this section, we can set up the recocking time. So it's the time required to fully recock, recharge the trap. Minimum value is 0.5 second, maximum is 3 seconds. So during this period, relay doesn't receive any commands. So it means we have to set type. For example, the time period, usually the trap needs to make the full recharge. The next one is standby V-Alarm. It's the lowest battery voltage level at which the system is automatically locked. When the system is locked, the system stops releasing and counting targets, even if the customer keeps pressing the remote control, which allows the shooter to save the credit on unreleased target. So the values here is from 7.5 to 12 volt. The incremental step is 0.5. To change the value, we use the change button, and to save, we press save. Next. The next one is Recock V-Alarm. Here is it's the lowest battery voltage level on load at which the system is automatically locked. So when the system is locked, so it stops releasing targets. So it also helps to save the credit on unreleased targets, the shooter. So here it's the same, it's from minimum is 7.5 volt, the incremental step is 0.5. So here we can also increase, for example, to 8.5, and we press save. Next. So click capacity is the volume of the magazine. Minimum is 50 and maximum is 1000. So this you have to set up in accordance to the volume of your magazine. When the magazine is fully loaded, usually by the operator, you have to press the refill button, which we have above. So we press refill, so we set to 0, and smart receiver starts counting from 0, and when it reaches this capacity of, let's say, 700, it is blocked. So in order to switch off this feature, you have to switch off the option of telemetrics. It is the next setting I will show you. So, but if you want to use this feature and to be able to check the capacity in the magazine trap, you can use it. Okay, the telemetry feature, we have yes or no. It switches off and on the option of receiving data about the state of the trap to the remote control. This feature is available only for X3 system. So when telemetry option is off, the status information, means number of targets in the magazine or the voltage of the trap, will not be available for transmission. And so, as before, we know to change the value, to change yes to no, we use change button, no, and we press save next to save the changes and go to the next mode. The next one is pull button mode. It's the setting the function of the pull button, which is placed above. As you see above here, we have two buttons. One is refill, we already know it, and the next one is pull button. So we can set this pull button as a refill button, so it means they both will be used as refill, or we can use it as pull. It means when we press on it, it will release the target. So it means pull button mode as we can use as refill, we can enable it or disable. So in our case, pull button mode is enabled. It means when we press the pull button, it will release the target. So we save next. So next one is the serial number. This is like a identification number of exactly this device. You have to report it in case it is needed, or a Rangemaster Systems administrator asks for it. Okay, and the last one is factory setting. It just resets all settings to factory state. So it means all what we just set up goes back to factory settings. So we made the full turn, and now we are back. And as you remember, let's check. We set the pull button as release. So when we press this pull button, you can see it is used as release button, and it can be good for testing trap. But if you don't want to keep this feature, as I said, you have to go again to pull button mode and deactivate it. In this case, it will not release.